Hello, YouTube viewers. Welcome to my channel, CCM Drummer. My name is Matthew Jackson, and I've got a good video series for you. I'm going to cover or do a review on the Jesus Music movie that came out in October 1st of 2021. And at the time it came out, I live in Brazil, and I was not able to see it right away at the theaters. So I had to wait till Christmas until I got back to the United States. I ordered the DVD, and I've since seen the movie. Now I'd like to give you a critique or review, whatever you want to call it, of the movie itself. And so let me get started on that. Before I get into it, um, please subscribe to my channel and check out some of my other videos. I got 25 drum covers of CCM songs. So check that out, and please feel free to like and make comments. Comments are welcome, even negative ones. If you disagree with me, that's okay. Just be nice, okay? So, like I said, this movie came out on October 1st, 2021. It grossed $1 million at the box office, which is not a whole lot of money, but you got to consider that it came out during a pandemic, and how many people were really going to movie theaters during the pandemic? How many movies were really big blockbuster hits at the box office during the pandemic? Hardly any, if at all. So, nah, no shame in the game on that. But yeah, the two key executive producers were Amy Grant and Michael W. Smith. Also, Andrew and John Erwin were also executive producers. Now, Andrew and John Erwin, they actually made the movie. They directed it. They did the creation of the movie. They were the producers, more or less. And as a matter of fact, let me do a little sidebar real fast. I wrote a book called Lock and Block. And it's my story of my experiences in the rescue movement back in the late 80s, early 90s. Okay. And I tell my story, but I also tell the story of the rescue movement. I would love to get somebody like Andrew and John Irwin to make a movie out of my book. Or, either John Irwin, John and Andrew Irwin, or somebody like them. I'm sure there's other Christian filmmakers too, but a Christian filmmaker that can make a screenplay out of this, okay, and make a movie. I'd even be willing to prepare some treatments from this book so you can make a screenplay from. So anyway, if there's any screenwriters out there, any Christian movie producers out there, and you want to write a screenplay about the rescue movement. If you don't know what the rescue movement is, that would be a good reason for you to buy my book, Lock and Block. Okay. So yeah, the rescue movement hasn't been documented at all. Okay, we don't have any documentation. We got documentation on the civil rights movement. We've got documentation on the anti-Vietnam War movement. Okay, other civil disobedience movements, but we have not got any documentation in a movie or a film. It'd be good if we could do that. Okay, enough of crassly promoting my book, and let me get back to the Jesus music movie. And it's going to be a multi-part series. This part, I'm going to talk more about, just give you a general overview, what I liked about it, and get the what I'm going to tell you is going to be more general in nature, and of course, um, subsequent, I'll get more specific. Just to give you a little background, those of you that have ever seen the movie Woodlawn, I've seen Woodlawn and I've seen I Can Only Imagine. Those are two other films that the Erwin brothers have produced. They've also produced I Still Believe, uh, American Underdog, October Baby, and Mom's Night Out. I haven't seen those movies, Mom's Night Out and October Baby, and I Still Believe, and American Underdog. So I'd like to see those. But yeah, okay. So uh, one of the things I liked about the movie is that it was comprehensive in the sense that it covered all the eras of Christian or contemporary Christian music. Now you got to remember the genre of CCM is basically a little over 50 years old. So it really got its start in the early 70s. Okay. And of course they covered this very well. They talked about the hippies and how the hippies converted to Christ, and when the hippies converted to Christ, became uh, Christians, they created their music and yada, yada, yada. Okay, so that's where it all started. So I'm not going to retell the story, just watch the movie, and it covers it very well. And it covers the 80s era, the 90s, and then from 2000 on up till today. So it was very comprehensive in that regard. Now, there's only one derogatory thing that I would probably say about the 70s era when they talked about all the CCM pioneers. They brought up Phil Keaggy, Second Chapter of Acts, Keith Green, Love Song, and so the people they brought up certainly were good, but they failed to mention Randy Stonehill and Michael O'Mardian. And how do you talk about the pioneers of CCM and ignore Randy Stonehill and Michael O'Mardian, especially Michael O'Mardian, because Michael O'Mardian was not only a good CCM artist in his own right, but he was a producer. He produced a lot of other CCM artists that won Doves and won Grammys. So I'm a little disappointed in that regard that they tend to gloss over Randy Stonehill and Michael O'Mardian. I thought they should have deserved some credit. But other than that, they covered the 80s well, the 90s well, who were the big artists back in those days. And another thing I liked about the movie is the way they portrayed the CCM artists. Um, they didn't sugarcoat. They 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 showed the artists as being human beings. There are artists that had problems with depression. There are artists that had problems with substance abuse, and they made no bones about it. Okay, they didn't try to whitewash and make the CCM artists something they were not. They were human beings. They're prone to sin and fallibility, just like the rest of us. And they didn't do anything to cover that up. They were very transparent about that, and I really appreciate that. And they talked a lot about how we prop up these CCM artists and we expect them to be perfect angels. And they fall. They get divorces. They get depressions. They get substance abuse problems. I mean, that happens. Okay. And so I really appreciate the way they portrayed the artists and were, very candid about it. And I think that's good. I think that speaks well of it. Um, by the way, here's a little sidebar you might be interested in. I actually met Amy Grant one time. Well, kind of, sort of met Amy Grant. I'll tell you the story. It was 1979, the month of August. It was at a Jesus festival in Colorado. I think it was called the Rocky Mountain Jesus Festival. I was with the drama group at the time, and we performed in the children's tent or children's facility. And so we're a drama group and we put on a play for these kids, right? Well, the organizers of this Jesus Festival in Colorado had a VIP trailer where all the artists and performers could go there, get some snacks, sit down, chill out, kind of like a lounge sort of deal. And they had a table with a spread of goodies. Okay. So anyway, we went to the VIP trailer in our costumes, in our theater costumes, and one of my cast members was talking to a young lady, and she was about 5'7", I think, somewhere around there, and she had long hair down to the middle of her back, and the hair was kind of spirally. And my fellow cast member was telling her about our play, what we do, what the plot is, blah, blah, blah. And she was very interested. She said, oh, that's so neat. Just, you know. And I said, well, who is this person? My fellow cast members talked. So I kind of walked around a little bit and looked at her, and it was Amy Grant. And there, I didn't say anything to Amy. I could have. I could have asked for an autograph. I could have got a picture, but I didn't know she was going to become a megastar and sell over 30 million albums and get a bunch of Grammys and Dove Awards. I think she's got 22 Doves. I don't know how many Grammys, but a lot. I think six. I don't know. I don't know. She's got a lot. Okay, she's won a ton of awards and is a megastar and has a handful of platinum albums. And I didn't know at the time because at the time I saw her, she was only 18 years old. My Father's Eyes, that album had only been out for like 3 or 4 months. She only came out with 2 albums at that time. She was still a hack like the rest of us. So, but anyway, that was my kind of sort of encounter. I don't even think I said hi to her. Once I knew it was Amy, I go, oh, that's Amy. Okay. And I just walked away. But anyway, that's as close as I ever got to Amy. I mean, I could have touched her. I was that close, within 2 feet. Yeah. Anyway, interesting. So that's basically what I have to say in part one of the Jesus Music movie. Now, let me give you a little preview or a forecast of what I'll be talking about in subsequent parts. Now, I don't know if this series is going to become a 3-part or 4-part, but I imagine it's going to be about a 3 or 4-part series. But we'll see how it goes. Now, there's one part of the movie that I did not particularly like, and it appeared in 1 hour, 6 minutes into the film. And I call it the racial reconciliation segment. And it lasted about maybe 6, 7 minutes, something like that. And I want to respond to some of the things that were said um, in that segment. Uh, Personally, up to that point, I was really in with the movie because the movie was talking about the history of Jesus music in CCM. But then it took a turn for the worse and got into racial reconciliation. Now, I don't have a problem with racial reconciliation or reconciliation of any sort, but racial reconciliation, how that figures into CCM is beyond me. So that's what I'm going to address in the next few parts of this series. I'm going to respond to a quote made by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. John J. Thompson made 3 remarks I'm going to respond to. Mandisa, Lecrae, Michael Tate, and Kurt Franklin. They all made some remarks in the movie, and I'm going to respond systematically to those remarks, but that's going to be in the next video. So, thank you for watching, and again, please feel free to subscribe to my channel, watch my drum covers, and my other videos that I have, and I will see you in part 2 coming up. Thank you for watching.